At midnight, behind the crumbling walls of Westfield Asylum, only darkness and a forgotten past remained. Legends had haunted the town for years, keeping everyone far away from that abandoned place. But tonight, something was changing. The dark, forsaken hospital was waking up again, answering the call of the trapped souls. A group of brave teenagers decided to explore this cursed asylum, which the townspeople had been avoiding for years. But nothing could have prepared them for the horror that awaited. With every step they took, a piece of the hospital's dark past would draw closer, something waiting to trap them in the emptiness behind their glasses. Slowly, one by one, they would become part of the asylum's spirits, because the abandoned walls of Westfield Asylum were calling them once more. The silence behind the glasses. This was Westfield Asylum, once a place where patients came to find healing. It had transformed over the years into a horrifying legend. People had long believed that the patients there needed more than just physical treatment. They needed spiritual healing. However, the treatments performed were far from kind. Over time, the patients were subjected to cruel and torturous therapies, which only worsened their mental states. Eventually, a large number of patients died, and the hospital was closed and abandoned. But even after it was locked up, the asylum was never truly empty. The spirits trapped within became the townspeople's worst nightmare. One evening, for teenagers Alex, Eve, Lily, and Mark decided to visit Westfield Asylum, a place the townspeople had tried to forget for years. Alex had never been willing to believe the horrifying tales people whispered about the asylum. He thought fear was simply a product of the mind. But his friends admired his courage and decided to join him. In the dark of night, they arrived at the abandoned, crumbling building of the asylum. Once a place of life, now it was a place ruled by death and emptiness. The rotting carpets between the old stone walls, the doors to unused rooms, and the remnants of long-abandoned beds all spoke of a place frozen in time. But as soon as they stepped inside, they began to realize that the fear people spoke of was not a myth, it was real. At first, everything seemed normal, but the oppressive atmosphere grew heavier with every passing minute. While wandering through the dark rooms, suddenly Eve's shoe got caught on something, causing her to stumble. A creaking sound echoed through the halls. Something moved. Everyone looked around in fear, but saw nothing. Mark, unable to shake his nerves, wandered off alone down one of the asylum's corridors. After a while, as Eve, Alex, and Lily were talking in another room, they suddenly heard Mark's scream, sharp and terrifying. They froze. Without hesitation, they rushed toward the source of the sound. When they entered the room Mark was in, they found him trembling and nearly fainting from fear. He said he had seen something but couldn't explain it. His eyes were wide in terror, and he shouted, "There's someone in that room." Alex, still skeptical, insisted there must be a logical explanation for what happened. But then, in an old patient room, they found decayed and old patient records. And that's when the spirits of the deceased seemed to reveal themselves. Sometimes the place where a spirit is trapped isn't limited to footfalls. There's something more. A shadow. In one room of the asylum, Eve sat on an old bed, putting on her glasses and staring into the mirror. But something strange happened with her reflection. The shadow behind her moved toward her and slowly smiled. Her heart raced. As she looked into the mirror, she realized something was moving behind her eyes. The moment she noticed this, her friends rushed in. But when they looked through her glasses, they saw nothing. Eve thought she had imagined it, but the fear inside her only grew. As they continued to wander through the asylum's depths, they started hearing terrifying whispers. Then Lily noticed something on the wall. The dead will return. Moments later, another message appeared. It's time now. When she slowly turned around, a shadow passed quickly, grabbing Lily and pulling her away. Lily disappeared. Panic set in. Alex desperately began searching for Lily, but in another room he found bloodstains on the walls. Through his glasses, he saw not himself, but another version of himself, his reflection moving toward him. The reflection slowly approached and whispered, "You didn't see me." Inside, the single voice echoed, "Are you really here?" Fear grew, spreading through the entire room. Suddenly, the faces of old patients began to appear on the walls. Horrifying laughs filled the air, followed by screams. Sometimes the voices came from one direction, sometimes from another. Eva and Mark realized they had to leave, but as they tried to exit, something blocked them at the asylum's door. The asylum's terrible walls seemed to pull them back as though they were trapped in the memories of the past. Behind their glasses, something was trapped. As time passed, they felt the overwhelming urge to leave the cursed place, but they couldn't. They didn't know what to do. But they kept descending into the depths of the asylum because the real horror lay in the eyes behind the glasses waiting for them. The connection between the dead and their suffering was far too strong. Finally, Alex was the only one to escape the cursed asylum. But as he walked back to town, he began to feel the shadow behind his glasses with every step he took. And at that moment, he understood the terrifying truth. The curse was real. Hours later, only one pair of glasses remained from the depths of the asylum. A pair of glasses that once held a lost soul, a terrifying object trapping it inside. When Alex returned to the town, something had changed. The emptiness behind his glasses was watching him. He could now see that shadow, but the locked doors of Westfield Asylum still creaked, and the spirits inside were waking up. Everything wasn't over because something was still missing, and that missing thing would never stop following them.